Hi everyone, my name is Praneeth. This video is about blockchains. I have a blockchain network running locally on my system. Uh, I did this video as a part of assignment for my computing class. In this video, I will be showing all the requirements to run our blockchain network on your system, and I would be explaining a little bit about my project and the network and the rules that govern them. So starting off, I'm running this network on a Mac. Uh, and for Mac, we have few prerequisites. It starts off with the Docker engine, Node, npm, Git, Python. In this website, you will find all the tools that you need for the blockchain network, and then the command lines to install them into your local system. And then once you're done with installing all the prerequisites, you can directly jump into installing the main development environment. And I have, like they've suggested, I'm also using VS Code along with plugins to help me run a hypervisor, the blockchain project. In the development environment, we start off by installing a common Composer CLI command line, and then the actual Hyperledger Composer. Uh, these are the main components, and after that, we would be installing additional services. The REST server. Uh, this will give us the all the REST API calls that's connected to the blockchain network. Uh, if we have successfully set up a blockchain network, uploaded our project, we would, after running the REST service, we would see something like this, uh, where we could do the operations, test the operations as a REST call directly from here. I will be going more in detail later. Once all the we have all the software and tools that we need, uh, we first start off with our project. Right now, I have a sample project. It's easy to start on our sample project because we have way too many things that we won't be touching as of now. I would be explaining few important ones like the models. Uh, this is the business model of my project. Uh, this project is about, in the structure, if you go to package.json, this is a meta file for the project. It tells you details, and it actually helps the project while it's building while it's compiling our project. So the name I've given to my project is my network, and then it's basically a commodity trading network. And then if we jump into the all the parameters that I have, that's the basic model of the blockchain. I have a trader who, it's the person who does the trading. He has a trader ID, a unique ID to uh, for him, his last name and first name, and then a transaction called trade, in which I have the commodity on which he's doing his trade, and then his name, and then the commodity will hold these values: the trading symbol, and then description, main exchange quantity. And then now we have the model, and uh, we're left with designing the rules, the governing rules over this model. We would define that in library, and right now when it's in my sample.js. This is a simple rule. All it does is you can just enter a transaction of the trader takes in a trader, and it just updates that commodity with this trader and updates the amount in that transaction. And once you have this project, you can build the project. uh, on building, you will see a deliverable called your project name.bna, my network over here. For my project, it's my hyphen network.bna. You can import this into the IBM's playground. This is the Hyperledger Composer playground. You could just import the BNA file into this. Right now I have already imported it over here. I'm connecting back into it, and over here, if you see, you can see the model of my project. You can see the definition, and something else that I forgot to mention is the permissions. Uh, Permissions right now I have pretty much given it all, uh, but permission is something that you will have to look in if you have a bigger system and you have different kinds of users. So I've already done few transactions, and if you go to the all transactions log, you will see all the transactions that I've done previously. In this, I have already added few traders. The you can just click new participant and create a trader. I have two traders with the trader ID trader 1 and trader ID 2, and then I have defined one commodity, and in this playground I would be just changing this commodity from trader 1 to trader 2, which I have done already. You can just go to the transactions and view the transactions that happened over here, the timestamp, and then the new owner, trader 2, and the commodity on which it was performed. Now, if we look at the commodity, it's right now owned by trader 2. So let's do a transaction to change that. So I'm just copying the syntax for that. Submit transaction. Right now it's at trader 2 like we've seen. I'm changing it to trader 1, and it successfully completed the transaction. If we go back to the commodities, now it's changed back to trader 1. Now it's just this website is just a playground. Initially, IBM Bluemix had an option to freely deploy a blockchain network, but right now it's a paid service. For that sole reason, I've installed it, created a blockchain network in my local system. Uh, Leaving this apart, I have my network.bna uploaded into my local blockchain network. This this is my REST server that's running. Once you install the blockchain networks, you need a way of talking to the server. One way of doing that is through the REST API. I have my REST API server running. Once you have the server running, if you log into the localhost on port 3000, you would see something like this. It just pops up all the operations that you can perform over here. And I've already posted I've already created a trader in this. If we get back into the trader and try to see the traders that we already have, I have only one trader. uh, Now, one thing to remember is the one that I've shown you previously in the IBM Bluemix is a separate instance, and the one that's running on my local is a different instance. That's why you just see only one of my trader over here in my local instance, because I've just inserted one. So this interface gives you an API calls for all the transactions that you can do. Right now, system level operations, commodity is adding a commodity, and the main transaction would be a trade, which would be on a commodity and a trader. And once I have the API reference guide, uh, I have a front end design which calls the APIs, basically uses these APIs to make transactions. Uh, and it's running on my local host port 4200. I've just made a few sample transactions. Uh, it would basically look, I've just given it a name called my app. If you go into the assets, we just have the only resources over here is the commodity and the transactions happening on the commodity and different types of commodity. We can add an asset, give a new trading symbol. Initially, we've seen that the trading symbol we had ABC. We can perform actions on the same trading symbol. Right now, I will just create a new trading symbol. Uh, Basically, this is a new commodity that I'm adding over here. Now, this would be, I'm just giving a reference as currency, main exchange, and then the quantity is 2000. And then the owner, I'm giving trader 1. And as soon as we give submit, as you know, a blockchain technology, it just creates a new block. It either creates a new block or just updates on top of existing blocks. Now this is my transaction. Trader 1 has uh, basically two different chains as of now. One is on the commodity ABC and the other one is on new trading. Uh, this interface uh, is built dynamically. Uh, Hyperledger at the GitHub website gives you all the details on how to install these services and run them and use them. Once you do that, then you would be able to run this kind of blockchain network in your local system. Thank you.